Well, hey team, this is going to be a super quick and dirty video about trying to triage this Vapour Barrier here. For those that saw my other video, the car's been in the garage now for a few days drying out, but it hasn't stopped raining. It's pouring outside, flooding all around us, and I actually need to get another car into the garage because it's getting serious water damage. So I'm just going to try and triage this. Ideally, we'd be putting all new ones on, but I don't have time to do that, so I'm just going to try and put this stuff back in place. There's a few different things you could use, silicons and glues and things like that, but if you can get yourself some butyl tape, that's probably the best stuff, and it's easy to remove and replace, and it stops this kind of stuff happening in the first place because the butyl tape's forgiving but waterproof. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the right sort of thickness. You know, you'd probably want like 1/2 inch, 1.5 centimeters. I could only get this one, which is 4 centimeters, which is too much, but I'm going to cut it up and see what we can do. So we'll have a crack. So as you can see, I'm just cutting this butyl tape down the middle with a razor, and that gives us about the right thickness. Maybe still a little bit too thick, but that's fine, good enough. So there you go, you can see we've been cutting it in strips and just peeling it off in sections, just like that. There we go. And then once you've got the tape, I'm just going to use this old glue line as my guide, stick the tape along, and yeah, hopefully it'll hold the plastic in place enough to keep us waterproof. Just as you're putting this in, you can see there's these little holes along there. You want to set the butyl tape up so that any water that comes through runs down the line back through the hole into the interior of the door. And then underneath here you can see the main drain hole at the bottom. I've run my butyl line all the way down right into the drain hole. Same on the other side. Hardest part is getting the stuff to peel. Here's one I prepared earlier. That can come off. And then this one is going to be a pain in the butt, I'm sure. Definitely needs 2 hands, but you just got to kind of get it started, because it'll want to stick to the backing as much as it wants to stick to everything else. As you can see, once you get the first little bit, there we go, to pull, then it'll come off quite easily. There we are. Stick them all together. Really like sticking to fingers. There we go, I can seal that up. There we go. Ideally, you'd pull all of this Vapour Barrier off completely and you'd run new seams, and if your barrier's damaged like this one, you'd actually cut new barriers. If you don't have butyl tape, then you could use glue or silicone, but as I said, that's what causes this stuff to rip. Whereas the butyl tape, it's very forgiving. It's kind of gacky to work with, but next time you can just come and pull this off, and the butyl tape will give, and then you can put new tape down, and that's the way it should be done, rather than just ripping into the plastic. Alright, so here we go. I've got my lines on all the way down to the drain hole at the bottom. So, trying to stick it down. Doing the other side now, almost finished. You can see all the seals are nice and tight. Just a little tip though, if you do have cuts in the plastic, you can seal them up with butyl tape as well. Just leave the backing on, and that'll make a nice seal and hold the plastic together. Alrighty, here we go. We have our rainstorm set up. Let's see if we're waterproof. Here we go, we can see the water coming down. through there. And no, we're not yet waterproof, so we'll keep working on that. Just so I show you, I found the one little bit that's leaking. Take my finger off there, it eventually starts to leak again. So that's all we've got to work on with a bit more butyl tape. So there we go, just a little bit more butyl tape on the outside and really massaged it in. Obviously dry the plastic before you do this. Really massage it in so it fills in any holes. And as we said, this is just a quick fix so that I can store this car outside until we can do it properly. But let's see if that's worked. I'm doing fairly well. Tiny bit of water down there. Certainly better than it was. I think that's probably as good as we're going to get without redoing the whole thing completely. So at least it's not pouring in anymore. And as I say, another day we'll rip it off completely, use it as a template to cut a new one, and then put new butyl tape around the whole thing so we get nice flat seals. And also we'll get the right butyl tape too. Order that online, something that's only sort of 1 to 2 centimeters, half an inch or less thick, and we should be able to get a good seal all the way around and keep the car dry. But for now, we'll call that good enough. So there we go, everybody. That's how not to fix your vapor barriers. But as I say, we're just trying to store this car outside right now whilst it's raining, and I think that's good enough if the water's not pouring in. So we'll call it a day. Until next time, have fun, catch you later.